Smells like a fresh batch of Volvo gravy. What's up guys, it's Drifts and Lifts here. Alright, so today's episode, good amount of gravy for you. So we have the 940 here. You guys saw this in, I think, my last video. I was doing a bit of work on it. I was actually trying to get it running because we had a fuel pump issue. Replaced the fuel pump and that was all good. Actually, I shouldn't lie. I did replace the fuel pump, but so my girlfriend was driving it to work. The guy that we bought off of, our good friend Claudio, did not inform us that the gas gauge wasn't working. It read a quarter, so I assumed it was working. It was actually just my girlfriend running this out of gas, and I did still replace the fuel pump. So it's kind of unfortunate, but no worries because I already had a fuel pump here. It's not like I wasted money on parts or anything. So over the last little bit, I've been doing a little bit of work on this thing. We actually got the boost controller. We got the G80 locker modified, so it has, it's always going to be locking now. We tacked the weight down. I've been doing a little bit of weight reduction. So I did what I like to call a street reduction. So I took out the carpets. I took out, this actually didn't have a sunroof, this car, because it's kind of a base model 940 with turbo motor. So I took out the headliner, took out the carpets. We gutted all the stuff out of the trunk. So maybe we lost about 200 pounds. We combined that with the stuff that we took out of the engine bay. So we're looking at all the AC stuff. So that is the compressor. I didn't actually get the condenser out, but that's no big deal. I'm gonna get that at a later date. I didn't even take out the frame weight, so we can still do that. There's a couple little bit of weight we can take out of this thing still, but for now it's pretty good. To have the boost up to about 13 pounds, it's actually pulling really good. This motor is in really good shape. It's good compression. It it just kind of, it's running how it's supposed to be. It's got really low kilometers. It's cool. If you look under this engine, usually there's a bunch of oil by the front main seal and like the crank seal and that kind of stuff, but this motor is super dry. It's got no oil leaks anywhere. So that's pretty much it. It's still stock suspension. There's nothing really to it. So we're gonna go test this out, guys. On the weekend, we actually have a drift event coming up. So it's actually the first drift event while we've been in this whole COVID-19 BS, but it's a private day. So we can actually bring one person and there's only gonna be 15 of us. So I gotta decide, I actually took the ITBs off of Miss Huff because they cracked again. I got my good friend Jordan to re-weld them, and what happened is the brace that I have for the ITBs, so I have a brace that bolts to right here, that actually unbolted on me because the bolt I used was slightly too short and it actually backed out. So that was my mistake. I got it re-welded. The ITBs are gonna be going back on Miss Huff. But if it's raining that day, I think I'm just gonna take this car because I can just drive it to the track. I don't have to, get a trailer and haul the drift car with the Cummins. So I can just take this, I can hop in, bring a couple sets of tires, tools, and that kind of thing, and we'll be good to go. But today's actually gonna be our test of this car. So this car I haven't taken it for a nice drift sesh that I've actually been able to, beat on a little bit and see if anything breaks. So that's what we're gonna go do right now. I think it's gonna be fine. It's been driving pretty good. The car, like I said, pulls pretty good. I wanna actually show you guys this. So people were saying in the comments on on the video that I made when I first bought this car, and people were like, you should straighten out the frame and like restore this car. People were telling me to restore this car, okay? For one, I'm not gonna restore this car because driving a bone stock Volvo is really boring, and like, I don't want to drive a bone stock 740 or a 940. It's a really boring car in stock form. Once you do a couple things to it, you can make them a little more fun. But if we look here, this framer actually got really bent. So it's kind of bent upwards a little bit. And ironically enough, there's actually some bending up at the front of the car. So after I gutted the carpet out, I could kind of notice. So there's a big bulge right here. I'm not too sure if that's related to the accident or what. But this car actually, I believe it got hit really hard in the rear. Volvo bumpers are so solid that you can't even really notice it, but I'm pretty sure that someone got smoked in the rear of this thing, because there's even like creases up here, and because this door does not fit good anymore, it does, there's tons of overlap and it's pretty janky now. So also when I was under there, the spring perch where that kind of is literally pushed what looks like forward. So the pan hard bar is rubbing on the diff cover, and also this whole trunk thing where the spare tire is pushed forward also. So I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this car is gonna be used for what this channel is known best for, and that is Volvo beating. We're gonna take it on rally roads, we're gonna drift it, we're just gonna get use out of it and have fun with it basically, because yeah, there's no way I'm gonna restore this car. Sorry guys. Anyways, so I got my good friend Oliver. He's also my roommate. So he has his 740 turbo down the road. That's that red one I showed you guys in one of my videos. We're actually gonna go drift right now. So we got a little bit of light left. We're gonna go throw throw a couple donuts and maybe some other stuff at the local spot, and it will be the first test of this 940 as well as Oliver's car. He's been doing a little bit of street drifting in parking lots in the rain and stuff, but it doesn't look like there's any rain right now. Maybe by the time we get to the spot there will be, but yeah, it'll be a good test for Oliver to kind of try out that car as well. Basically the same spec. They're you know, he has a welded diff, this one has a locker modded diff. They're both stock suspension, they're both got a manual boost controller in it running similar boosts, so pretty well matched cars. It'll be kind of fun going for a little tool in them. So hope you guys liked the video. All right guys, so I'll show you just a little bit of a rip on how quick this thing is with the boost controller and a bit of weight reduction. It is raining out now like I thought it would be with all the clouds in the sky, so we got it in first gear. This is obviously an automatic car, but yeah, so let's pin it in first and just bang it into second, see what happens. Probably about 180 wheel horsepower. Oh, we got it. Okay, we got it. So the G80 still locks pretty good. A lot of the time when these G80s are old, they don't lock very well. So this one's pretty young, so I feel like the clutch packs in it are still good. Here, let's see what it does on this corner here. I feel like it smells a bit like fuel, a bit of a concern, so I might pull over and take a little pee. I think. My car on fire. Smells a little iffy. There's a rabbit. Okay, it smells like fuel, guys, which is a little bit alarming. Oh, we're on fire, we're on fire. Oh no. All right, so we got a coolant leak real bad somewhere. Yeah, that's kind of lame. So when Oliver actually moved in with me, he had a 240 Volvo and he wanted to get into drifting. So I was like, well, let's look for a cheaper 740 for you because we can find them turbo. It's got a bit more power. 240s are hard to find in manual transmission anyways, and they don't come turbo. My thought is always that a turbo automatic 740 is going to be better than a manual NA one. You can still slide these if you have, you know, a boost controller and a stock auto with a turbo. You can still use first and second gear and it still works pretty good. We've done it many times, but so anyways, Oliver's got this car now, and yeah, it's been pretty good. We got the diff welded for him, and he's fairly new to drifting, but he can actually, you know, he's shown me some videos. He can slide a car around pretty good. So give a shit, buddy. Right on. All right guys, so it is the next day. We came back, we actually left the car here overnight. So I brought a few coolant hoses from Lordco, and we found our culprit. So this one was actually the hose that was leading from, these 940s have an oil cooler, and it actually goes into the coolant somehow. I don't really know, but I'll show you guys where this hose came from. As you can see, really cracked and disgusting, and it had a big rip right there where the actual clamp was clamped on. So look under here, that's the hose right there. This one that goes right up into the oil cooler right here. So yeah, we fixed it. I put a new hose on it. It's a little bit kinked, but there still is going to be coolant flow in there. I should have got a bend. I got straight hose. I thought it was going to be okay. It should be fine though. So this car is good to go, guys. All right, so our new hose is leak free now. Let's do a burnout in this thing. So we're trying to drift this corner. That actually worked really well. I may as well try that on the reverse way. This car's got plenty of power to slide, actually. That's awesome. Alright guys, so a couple test runs. That was honestly the first big drifts I've done in the 940. I wasn't going to go right for the big sweeper corner, but I don't know, I felt pretty confident in the car. Drifting a stock Volvo, they're really balanced when you have the same tires front and rear, stock suspension. It actually leans into a drift pretty nicely. To be honest, I like how a stock Volvo drifts with a little more power, and a locker diff, of course, that's a necessary item. But yeah, so good to go. We may come back later, we may not. I'm just stoked that this car is totally drift worthy. We're gonna take it to the event this weekend and we're gonna have a lot of fun. I might bring Mishaf, I might not. I think I'll have plenty of fun in this thing. We'll see how it goes. So we'll head home and get this thing going. All right guys, so we just got back home here. Unfortunately, we're not gonna go slide this anymore today, and I'll show you why. So we got a couple more things to fix before the drift event this weekend. So when I was drifting it there, those couple corners that I did, I smelled some pretty bad fuel. And it looks like all the fuel actually, so this car, as you guys know, got in a pretty bad accident. As you can see, frame rail's bent here, like this is all warped up there. There's kinks on the car, the doors don't shut. So this thing's pretty, you know, the car got pretty bent in the rear here. And one thing I noticed is there's actually a bunch of JB weld and weird stuff going on here. So when I was drifting, I started smelling gas really bad, and it's actually, you know, when you chuck the car sideways, it kind of sloshes the fuel around in the tank. It was actually coming up through the fill neck, and it's kind of leaking out where all this gross JB weld is. So I'm gonna have to get a new fill neck. This is pretty janky. I don't really like, you know, having to re-JB weld it. That's not really that dope. And you can actually see how gross it is. Like, there's probably just a ginormous crack somewhere in there. Just not what we're looking for. So yeah, we're gonna call her quits for today. And as you guys can see, this car slides perfectly fine. Actually, like I said in the video, I really like how the stock Volvo slide. They're kind of balanced. It's almost like Volvo really intended it to be kind of like that. It's a pretty manageable car in stock form. You know, they're kind of slow in stock form, but with a little more boost, you know, the exhaust removed and that kind of thing, it makes enough power to keep the wheels turning in a drift, and that's all we're really asking for. So I'm pretty stoked on this car, guys. Yes, it's a beater, but like I said, it's got you know, some issues as far as the body damage goes. So, but everything about the car mechanically is pretty good. So anyways, guys, so I'm gonna leave you there for today. Like and subscribe for Volvo beef. Peace out.